Hi, Tracy Dezier here. I want to talk about two things today. One is how strengths map to your work in the world, and two, how to get a little bit more confidence and courage to do your work in the world. So first, how strengths can map to your work in the world. This is critical. This is a really big turning point when you realize the intersection between what you are really good at and what the possibilities are. I never really thought about myself as a coach. I never really considered doing it. There were, and this leads to sort of the second piece, there were a lot of messages that I had in my mind about what needed to be done in order to call myself a coach. There's a lot of messages in the marketplace about this, and so there was some trepidation. But going back to the first piece, when I look at my strengths, I can easily see how they map to coaching. And this is the beauty of it. Your strengths can sort of validate a new direction for you or a different direction for you, pave the way, actually show you some other possibilities. And that's the beauty of strengths. So I like using strengths for that reason. And I won't go into exactly how all of my strengths map to coaching, but I will say this, what my number 5 is activator, which means I get things started. So it's no accident that my coaching program is all about getting started. It's a jump start. It's a jump start on the goals, and it's a jump start on making forward momentum on whatever you feel you need to make forward momentum on. So essentially, that's how I view my work in the world, is I help people get started with what they need to get started with without being bogged down with a bunch of fear or a bunch of negative messages, or a bunch of, competing external pressures. So anyway, that's sort of one way how I'm mapping my strengths information to the work that I'm doing, and really stepping into and owning that with a little bit more resolve maybe than I would have without that information. So I hope that makes sense. That's part 1. Part 2, providing courage and confidence to do your work. Strengths is a great foundation for that. Like I mentioned before, coaching is big, right? There's a lot of people who are coaching. Even to call myself a success coach was a little bit scary, to be honest, because, right, there's all these different ideas around what success means. Now, of course, my concept is we need to define success for ourselves. It's too easy to just take the prescribed laundry list and apply it to our lives as if it's a template, and this is what we need to do, without questioning it, without even saying, is this my path? And that's part of the work that I want to do. So one thing, when we step into a new space and we start to do different work, our voice or someone else's voice might say, what qualifies you to do that? Given that that is a complete departure from what you did before over here. So marketing, coaching, some people would say, how do you do that? How do you justify that? How do you wake up and call yourself a coach? And the flip side could be said for a coach who wakes up and calls themselves a marketer. So it takes a little bit of finessing and thinking about and allowing for flexibility and non-judgment, always working on that as part of my commitment to authenticity, right? But the idea is, when I look at my strengths and I look at my past and what I love doing, one of the things that I loved about teaching, and I did not love teaching itself, but I loved the preparing for teaching in the fact that I got to develop exercises and activities that would drive home the principles and theories for students. I also got to design, lesson plans that would help break that down. So I'm really excited about the idea that that this is that this is possible, right? That it's like, okay, this was something that I enjoyed and was good at and loved, and I can turn around and point to that and say, this not only prepares me for what I'm doing, but this qualifies me. And I'm sure there's lots of other things. When I start exploring that and turn off the voice that says, what makes you a coach? Or what makes you whatever it is? Ask yourself, with that direction, when you have that question, the trick is, can you bring that back and tie it to an existing strength or a passion that you had before, some piece of your life that prepared you to be where you are now? And I think there's real joy in that. So I hope you'll join me on the journey to uncover your strengths and do your work in the world with confidence and with courage, understanding, as always, that it is a journey, it is a process. No one has arrived, but together we can get there. Thanks.